Welcome to another edition of GR Excerpts, highlighting interesting and trending headlines in cybersecurity from the week. I'm Dwight Braswell, reporting on behalf of CyberGRX. We start with a few updates on the state of the industry. Trend Micro recently released a new State of Industrial Cybersecurity report to understand the motivations and environmental factors driving cybersecurity improvements for the manufacturing, energy, oil, and gas industries. Among the findings, 9 out of 10 organizations have had their production or energy supply impacted by cyber attacks in the last 12 months. And more than half of respondents said the disruptions lasted 4 or more days, with an average financial damage of almost $3 million. Additionally, half of respondents reported at least 6 disruptions in the last 12 months, or a cyber attack occurring every 2 months. The primary causes of the attacks: exploitation of a third party or cloud service. Additionally, 40% of the organizations said they could not block the attacks. Rather, the focus was on detection and response. As for the top driver to strengthen cybersecurity controls, it comes as no surprise the top answer was to prevent future attacks. And turning now to financial services companies doing business in New York should prepare for tighter cybersecurity regulation soon. The New York Department of Financial Services recently proposed amendments to its cybersecurity regulation, representing a significant update to mandated cybersecurity practices for financial institutions, including banks, insurance companies, and mortgage loan servicers. The proposed amendments call for increased controls associated with common attack vectors and additional cybersecurity requirements for larger companies. While the original NYDFS cybersecurity regulation provided organizations freedom in designing their cybersecurity program based on assessed risks, the proposed amendments now require the implementation of specific administrative and technical controls to address common vulnerabilities. In addition, consistent with growing regulatory trends, the proposed amendments mandate cybersecurity governance practices, moving beyond administrative and technical safeguards to regulate corporate behavior. Finally, the proposed amendments subject larger financial services organizations to independent audits and external risk assessments. The comment period for proposed amendments continues until January 8th, 2023, and most amendments become effective within 180 days of adoption. Shifting now to emerging threats, a Google Chrome extension named Venom SoftX is being deployed by Windows malware and is stealing information in cryptocurrency as users browse the web. The malicious browser extension is a new variant of the Viper SoftX malware, which was first discovered in 2020. Venom SoftX masquerades as Google Sheets 2.1 productivity app and installs as an update manager. While Venom SoftX and Viper SoftX have malicious activity overlap, how they perform the end goal, which is cryptocurrency theft, is different. Venom SoftX hooks into an API request on popular crypto exchanges that the victims visit, then tampers with the API request to redirect money to the attacker instead. Additionally, the extension modifies the transaction amount to the maximum available, siphoning all available funds. Targeted services include blockchain.com, Binance, Coinbase, Gate.io, and KuCoin. And just a reminder, Google Sheets is not an extension. It can only be installed in Google Chrome as an app under Chrome. If employees do have the extension installed, it should be removed and browser data cleared to ensure the malicious extension is removed. And in ransomware news, the FBI, CISA, and the Department of Health and Human Services have issued a new alert for the Hive Ransomware. As of November 2022, Hive Ransomware has victimized over 1,300 companies worldwide, capturing an estimated $100 million in ransom payments. Hive Ransomware is a ransomware as a service model in which developers create, maintain, and update the malware and affiliates launch the attacks. The method of intrusion will depend on which affiliate targets the network, although initial access is typically gained through single-factor logins using remote desktop protocol, virtual private networks, and other remote network connection protocols, or by bypassing multi-factor authentications and known vulnerabilities in 40 OS servers. Threat actors commonly leverage phishing emails, exploiting Microsoft Exchange server flaws. What makes Hive groups so successful is their ability to evade detection before deploying the ransomware payload. And even more concerning, attackers will also reinfect the victim's network, particularly those who restore their systems without making a payment. Healthcare has been a primary target, although other impacted industries include government facilities, communications, manufacturers, and IT. Finally, we close this week by asking the question, why are CISOs resigning? In the span of just 8 days last month, state CISOs from Oklahoma, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and North Dakota all resigned, and many CISOs in private and public sectors are choosing to move on too, reducing the average tenure of a CISO to just 2 years. Why is that? SC Media sat down with CyberGRX CISO Dave Stapleton to get his thoughts. And despite what you might guess, CISOs aren't just resigning for negative reasons or the stress of the job. Because CISOs have technical expertise, business acumen, and crisis management skills, they're stepping away to pursue related interests and being recruited for roles outside of InfoSec. How can organizations stop the churn? Support and recognition of the role cybersecurity plays within an organization play a big part. As an example, giving the CISO a seat at the table and a voice in the enterprise planning and decision-making, as well as supporting the CISO with process transformation and embracing change. And most importantly, CEOs need to be empathetic to the pressures facing CISOs. Dave Stapleton summarized by saying, serving as a CISO can offer great rewards when an organization appreciates and respects that person, giving them the tools they need to succeed. And on that note, we close out this edition of GR Excerpts. Subscribe on our YouTube channel to receive future updates. Until next week, I'm Dwight Braswell with CyberGRX, the risk management platform that helps you pinpoint, measure, and prioritize your third-party cyber risk so you can plan appropriately and sleep soundly.